everybody. Thank you so much for taking your time this evening to meet with all of us. Our goal this evening is to talk to you about what is going on at Latitude 525, give you guys an update, also an opportunity at the end to answer questions you may have. We did ask folks to submit them ahead of time, but we've also been collecting them. So we will go through that, and then at the end we'll talk about some of the partners who are here who hopefully can answer additional questions. But before we get started, I will turn it over to Deputy County Administrator Ms. Joy Bivens for a little introduction.
Okay, good. I'm gonna stand up. Can you hear me now? All right. Do you mind if I stand up? All right. I gotta stay at the microphone or I go to jail?
Because they're recording it for us.
Okay, you're recording. Okay. So I am Joy Bivens. Some of you remember me from Dodge Rec Center. I am the Deputy County Administrator of Health and Human Services for Franklin County. What does that mean? I oversee Job and Family Services, Office on Aging, Justice Policy and Programs, as well as child support. I am appointed by the Franklin County Commissioners. How did I get here? How did I get to meet all of you? On Christmas, I received a phone call from Homeland Security informing me that there was something happening, and I call it Sawyer Tower because that's, since college has always been Sawyer Tower. I know you all call it Latitude 525. Okay, so whatever y'all call it, I'll call it Sawyer Tower. And they said that there was an emergency situation and residents needed to move. When I heard that, I immediately understood that many of the residents in this room were being impacted in a way that we needed to intervene in order to ensure that your supportive services stayed intact. So I called my good friend Jason at the city, who is hiding from me today, as well as some of the other organizations in this room, and asked, what can we do to assist? I met you all at Dodge, and then at Dodge, we had one night, I believe, there when I intervened, and I know the Red Cross was there until Wednesday, and then we moved you all out on Friday. I'm gonna be very honest with you. First of all, I know this is a very inconvenient situation that has happened. Our role in the county, my role in the county is my lane is supportive services. If I had my will, if I had my guys, if I had authority over anything, I would try to rectify this as much as possible, but we don't own buildings. We have no jurisdiction over, certain aspects of this, only the supportive services. So let me first start by saying, I am sorry as a human being this is happening to you, because it's inconvenient. And this is not what you were expecting on Christmas. And many of you, your families were uprooted, your jobs were uprooted. This is inconvenient. And I'm speaking from the perspective of not my role, but just as a fellow human being. But I want you all to know that every agency, every person represented around this room is really trying to help. It is inconvenient, it is uncomfortable, and I know there are so many different circumstances that are arriving, that are popping up, and we are really trying to work collectively to make sure that you maintain the standard of life that you had before this happened. But again, we intervened. Westerville, the hotel that you all are staying in, was one of the hotels that stepped up and said that we could have the number of rooms that we had. If there was a place in the city of Columbus that was central to many of the things that you all were accustomed to coming to, we would have done that, but it just was not available. And I don't know how many of you understand that, housing right now is an issue across the country, not just in Columbus. But again, we're here to make sure that we can assist you along this journey in a way that you can go back to the standard of living that you had before. No one is trying not to help. Please understand that. On Christmas, we were, I know many of you were inconvenienced. I was on the phone on Christmas all day long, calling everybody. I called everybody. People that was on the road, people was opening Christmas gifts, people that was right in the middle of eating a turkey dinner. Like, what do we need to do? So I only say that because I want you to know you are among friends and family. We don't have every answer, because this is never, it predates me. I know that there was something that happened in Columbus before. That was before me, but it predates me. But please know, between the city, the county, all the organizations, we are really trying to ensure that you all get back to the standard of living that you have. My role, again, is the human services side. To the extent that I can help you in maintaining that, we and my team around the room, I appreciate you all for being here, but we're gonna try to help, and these wonderful, smart people that are much smarter than me and all the stuff that they do, because I don't understand legalities. You know, I'm married to a lawyer and I'm non-compliant. He'll tell you, I'm like, I will be in jail because I'll break a rule in a second. So, but I want you to know we are here to help you. I may have to scoot out because I do have a family engagement that if I am not there today, my family probably is going to divorce me because I've been working 12-hour days. So I may scoot out a little bit before this is over, but it's not because I don't want to be here. Okay? So thank you all for your time, and I really appreciate the fact that you just showed up to listen to what everyone has to say. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy County Administrator Bivens. We appreciate it. So she gave a great introduction to the emergency response. What I wanted to do as a way to introduce you to who you will be hearing from tonight is also have them talk about the role that their agency plays in this work. As the Deputy County Administrator said, this is amongst many agencies, county and city, and each person at this table has a piece of the puzzle, but no one has the whole puzzle, and we're trying to put it all together. So I'm going to introduce each of them and allow them to talk about the role that their agency has played to date and will continue to play. So as we discussed, the Franklin County Commissioners, in partnership with the Mayor's Office and the Red Cross, really handled the immediate aftermath at Dodge Rec Center. And then next, I'll introduce Tony Celebrezzi with Building and Zoning Services.
Good evening. My name is Tony Celebrezzi. I'm the Deputy Director of the City Building and Zoning Services Department. That department includes code enforcement, which many of you all are very familiar with, our officers that have done a lot of stellar work out there. So how much do you want me to go into right now?
Just the role that you guys play.
Okay, so the role that we're going to be playing is trying to, right now basically that impacts you all, is how do we get your belongings back to you? And discuss that. So that'll be my role here later on tonight, and I can give you at some point a blow-by-blow of how we got to where we did on Friday when we fully vacated everybody out of the building, and I can explain why we had to do that. But those will be my roles later.
Perfect. Thank you, Tony. Next, I will hand it over to Ms. Shannon Isom, the recently installed new Executive Director at the Community Shelter Board.
Thank you. Shannon Isom, President and CEO of the Community Shelter Board. Our role is to create coordinated systems around those that are moving through homelessness, the shelter system, as well as destabilized housing. The role that we will play here is resource linking, which includes transportation, food, as well as security. Any questions I will field that are in that lane. Happy to be here and supporting in the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon. And next with the City Attorney's Office, Mr. Steve Dunbar.
Hi, I'm Steve Dunbar, work in the City Attorney's Office. The City Attorney's a guy named Zach Klein. I basically run a group that is supposed to find the places in town where the people who own them are not doing right by the people who live there. Sawyer Towers is a perfect example of that. We identified that some time ago. Sued them. It's a big company in New Jersey. We thought we had it figured out. We had them set to be out of town, sold, and we had a much better person or group coming in to buy this place about 2 weeks after Christmas when it all went to hell. For you all much more so than for us. So primarily the role now is to make sure that the folks that own the building, the things that everyone's going to talk about here tonight that we're trying to do to help you as much as we can, that they pay their fair share of that. And also they leave town. And, a number of things related to that, but really at this point we take a step back so that the folks up here can take care of you, and we just make sure we hold those guys accountable on the back end of this.
Perfect. Thank you. And next is Ms. Melissa Benson with Legal Aid.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Benson, and I've had the pleasure of meeting and working with some of you already. You may have also had the opportunity to meet or work with our staff in the back of the room. Graham Bowman, John Cumming, and Michael Edwards are here from my office. Michael is specifically a tax attorney and is here tonight because we know that people had some tax-related questions. So if you would like to speak to legal aid specifically and have not already filled out our application and our contact information. What we are doing in this situation is representing tenants. We're representing some of you already in the court case. We entered an appearance on behalf of about 10 people in October. After Christmas, many more of you have reached out to us, and we are in the process of collecting information for all of you. And at this point, we are focused on the same things that you all are focused on in the immediate situation here, protecting your rights, getting you access to your property, making sure your things are safe. But in the long run, we will also be looking at those questions of damages and reimbursement and those sort of things for people. But we want to deal with the first part first, and then unfortunately, this stuff moves very slowly, and we'll have to deal with the money parts once we've gotten people a little bit more settled.
Thank you. Ms. Joy, anything else you want to add before I go to Ms. Rosetta? All right, Ms. Rosetta Brown.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rosetta Brown. My company is R.H. Brown & Company. I am hired by the city. I will be working with all of you to place you in decent, safe, and sanitary housing real soon. I can share this little success story by show of hands. Can you tell me who have found housing yet? Because I see a lot of you. Thank you so much. We have 37 right now who have been approved for housing, and you're going to be on your way soon. Thank you.
Good.
And Mr. Tony Wells with the Wells Foundation is up here tag teaming with Ms. Rosetta. Tony is really coming in on the fiscal side, assisting us with ensuring that we are getting all of the payments out when new leases are established so we can get you guys moved as quickly as possible, and also connecting with other support services as well. So we appreciate the Wells Foundation partnership on that. As I mentioned, what I'm really going to do is turn it over to Tony and Steve to talk about the court case as well as the process underway. We know that really the question is access to the building and to your belongings. So we're going to spend the majority of the time there. After that, I do want to give Ms. Rosetta an opportunity to talk about the work she is doing, how to access her if you haven't already, and some of the events she has planned in the near future. And then I have a list of questions. We'll go through what's been submitted, and hopefully if we have time, we can answer any additional questions and point you in the way of our resource partners who are here. So I will turn it over to Tony and Steve.
Okay. All right, I will, I guess I'll start with Friday the 23rd. Code and myself were out there because on the second floor, a sprinkler head broke because a sliding glass door was left open, and you know how cold it was on Friday and through Christmas. We did a number of surveys of units and windows that were open. We reported it to the management company, and it was up to them to deal with it at that point. Unfortunately, we had a lot of water breaks over into Christmas Day, and I know Heather and her team were there helping, trying to get folks out. Because that is because those are 15 stories, we need to have fire suppression operational for not only your safety, but first responder safety, because ladder trucks don't go that high. Unfortunately, a lot of these breaks were in the fire suppression system. And so we had real issues with that. And then because of the multiple breaks, you had water going through the walls, coming out, electrical sockets and other areas that was just not safe. So that was why we placarded the building on that, I think it was that Monday or Tuesday. Take a couple of steps forward to that Friday. We had to have a hard date where we needed everybody out of that building. Again, it was for your safety and first responder safety if there was an issue, especially with the elevators kept going down, as you know, and so that just complicates things even further. So on Friday, when we asked you all to leave, and I appreciate everybody's cooperation with that. I can't even imagine everything that you guys were going through and trying to figure it out. So we were able to, with Joy and others, get you all places to be. And from that point, we began to work with the management company and the owners to try to get the building restored. We also, as some of you all know, we did start to do appointments so people could get back in and get emergency papers, even move some of their things out of the building at that time. And I think that went on for a couple of weeks. The management company brought in a company that was going to do the moisture remediation, and their employees proceeded to not only knock out a lot of walls trying to find these water breaks, they also started pulling up carpets. When they did that, underneath those carpets, 50-year-old building, it's got materials that have asbestos in them. And so when they started pulling those up and breaking those tiles, asbestos in its original form, like a tile or insulation, is not inherently dangerous. It's when you start to move that around, disrupt that, and those fibers start to get into the air, then you breathe those in. That's when the problems begin with asbestos. So it's not that the building was unsafe with that there while you were living there, as long as they weren't disturbing it. But this company came in, they started tearing up carpet everywhere, dragging drywall through the place, and spread asbestos fibers, unfortunately, throughout the buildings. And it was at that point we brought in the Ohio EPA. They conducted some testing along with a company called North American Environmental Services, which is a local company here. And it came back tested positive for asbestos. Not as much as they thought, which was a good thing. However, any asbestos in the air and broken up is bad. Putting it very basic and simple. So at this point, because of the air system in those two buildings, the asbestos got into those, and unfortunately, we believe it's spread to all the units. We don't know which ones. There may be some that aren't, but we can't. And the contractor, North American, who is certified by the state, and he's just the science guy behind asbestos and knows how to remediate it, said that it is most likely there's fibers in all the units, unfortunately. So the bad news is that things that are more fibrous, what's called soft items, clothing, furniture, is not going to be able to be salvaged. Everything, things can be cleaned, but those types of items, unfortunately, because of the way asbestos is a fiber, and it gets in there, and it attaches, and it doesn't come out. And you don't know about it, and if you get it in you, you don't know about it for years to come. It's a long-term thing that they figured out in the mid-'70s when they figured out asbestos was bad and they stopped using it in buildings. But things like electronics, hard-sided things, books that are not open can all be cleaned and thus can be gotten back. Things like photo albums, jewelry, things along those lines can also be cleaned. So we are, I will take questions as soon as Hannah lets me, but we've had numerous meetings with both the North American and the property owner representatives talking about the protocols to get back into the building and get these things cleaned so that we can get things that are of personal value or priceless value to you, back to you. It is not the situation that we were in initially, and it was not something that we expected to be in either. So, let's see. So basically, at this point, we're supposed to be getting a cleaning and access plan sometime beginning of next week. And at that point, when we have protocols that we can do safely to get things cleaned, we'll begin to reach out to folks that were on the agenda to get in there that first week. There's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday appointments that we had to cancel. Those folks will be reaching out to you and explaining the protocols. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work yet. But I do know that none of us in this room are going to be able to be into the two buildings, because both buildings are sealed off at this point to prevent the asbestos from escaping and impacting anybody else. It's going to take them a while to put this together, work with you to figure out what are the items that you need to have back, and then go and make, and Jim's crew from North American will have to clean it and then get it out, and we've got to figure out how to get it down the stairs to where it's someplace that you can get it. So, you know, it's not a message you wanted to hear, but this is the situation that we're in, and so I'll take any questions, or if you want me to hold off.
I want to give, because I think we're going to have a lot of questions about reimbursement of costs and loss of items. So I want to give Steve and Melissa an opportunity to talk about the work that the City Attorney's Office and Legal Aid is doing on their cases. If you have questions specifically related to asbestos and what Tony just talked about, if you want to line up at the mic there. If it is longer term about replacement and furniture and all of that, then I have them here. But I do want to give an opportunity if there's specific stuff there. So I'll turn it over to Steve and Melissa.
So, thanks, Hannah. And so one thing, there's a lawyer named Tiara Ross here who works in my office who busted her ass around the clock to bring a lot of this stuff together, not just the legal work, but I cannot say enough about, you know, everyone here has done a lot, and she has done more than most. That being said, my role right now is just to make sure whenever Tony asks the owners for something, they say, yes, sir. I'll run them out of town, I'll take some money from them on the back end, but here and now it's to make sure when Tony and his folks say you need to do something now to take care of the folks in this room, they do that.
And so I think one of the things that's important to know here is the difference between the city attorney's office and legal aid and the work that we're doing. Steve represents the city and represents the city's interests, and through that can help to advocate for tenants. But the Legal Aid Society of Columbus is representing tenants in this case, as I mentioned before, and has also gotten a number of people who've requested assistance from us separately from that. Just as a basic information, we provide free legal services to anyone who income qualifies for us. And right now, anyone who would like specific advice about their situation who has not already talked with us and filled out an application is what we have people in the back of the room who can help take those applications tonight. If you do want to talk to a lawyer, they're raising their hands back there. So that aside, just wanted to mention that first. Our role in the court case has been, as I said, we're representing a few specific tenants, but through that we've been able to negotiate some things on behalf of everyone here, including the questions around rent issues and the lease rescissions that were in that order earlier. As people have figured out, we're not getting back into this building now. That was something that was up in the air a while ago. So right now, what we are looking at in terms of things that legal aid can do to protect your rights are, we want to make sure that no one is disturbing your property and taking it out. And the city has been working with us on ensuring that your property stays in the building for now. And then later with that, what we will be looking at is ways that the tenants could be compensated for that. This was something that was caused by the actions of your landlord, and therefore there's some legal liability for your landlord there to reimburse you for the property damage that you have. What that's going to look like exactly, we don't know at this point, but that is definitely something that we are interested in assisting people with if they would like our help with that. And contacting us to get into our system so that we can start to have those conversations with you is the best first step. We can, once we have you in our system, also answer specific legal questions, and at the end of the program this evening, I will do my best to answer questions, but I want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to share information first.
So, Tony, I know that you mentioned that next week we anticipate receiving a process in order to be able to assist individuals with getting the belongings out that can be removed. As you said, we're looking at prioritizing those who had already scheduled time. If you haven't done so, obviously we are here to sign you up. Also, Ms. Rosetta has been sharing folks who are leasing up so that we have them on the schedule as well. The more contact information we have from you, we truly appreciate that you've provided, and we will continue to be able to share updates when we have that process too. I know we have a court hearing on February 13th, Steve. Do you anticipate any conversation coming out of that or any action coming out of that related to this?
Yeah, I mean, they're on the clock to sell and leave. We don't think they're going to do that in time, so right now we're asking the judge to take the buildings from them. They're going to take a flyer saying, here's our plan to make stuff right. Please give us some more time. We have said we will keep an open mind and look at anything you present to us. We're waiting. But as it stands right now, that is the plan. That is the hearing. A couple of you we've worked with pretty closely to talk about testifying before. We may need to bring a couple of you in again. But, February 13th 's next time we're back in the environmental court with these guys. February 13th 's the next time we're going to have some answers. Again, mostly long-term stuff and financial consequences for these folks.
Let me add to what Melissa was saying. On Friday, after you all left, we had our crews board up the doors and the access points to those buildings. We've continued to monitor the buildings, make sure windows weren't broken, things like that, all in an effort to keep the buildings secure. Now, obviously, the management company and the owners have access to the building, and they did bring in the remediation crew. But since then, with the asbestos, they are all out at this point. But we continue to go by there every day with our code officers to make sure things are still secure. So we're trying our best to keep the building secure and make sure your belongings are still there.
So I want to give an opportunity for folks, if on this portion, I don't want to just rush into, there's a lot to process here. So if there is a desire to ask any questions about the building and the asbestos determination before we talk about the rehousing component at all. Yes, sir?
Yes, I was wondering, I understand you said it's a list for people to get their things out. If you have a place to go and everything, could those people maybe, instead of waiting to list, I'm not saying jump anybody, but get their stuff so that, it's hard to move forward. This wasn't just a room for us, we got a house full of furniture in there. And this process of legal aid and all that, right now, we need to be able to get our stuff in order to move forward.
So Tony, before you answer that, if anyone else has any questions, there's a mic right there. Right there. See it right there? If you want to queue up right there to ask questions. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Vivian. The only reason I'm asking that is we are filming this for folks who may not make it to a session or are off-site. So, all right, go ahead, Tony.
As soon as we have, it was a good question. As soon as we have protocols figured out, then we're going to be reaching out, one, to the folks that were already on the list, but then also to everybody to find out who needs to begin that process of identifying what can come out of the unit, what you will need out of the unit, and how do we get it to you. And folks that are moving and that have a place to go, common sense says we help you guys get in there as quick as possible, and so we will.
Ms. Rosetta sends us the list almost daily of individuals. Ma'am?
Hi, I'm Pam, and I lived on the 14th floor. And my whole ceiling caved in. My main wall that I had in my apartment, I'm pretty sure y'all been in there, so you know it's only one really main wall, caved in. How am I supposed to get anything? I have no clothes, no nothing. I busted my butt like everybody else in here to get what we had. And for everybody to turn around and say, we have nothing? How was that fair to us? And then you said we have to figure out what we're gonna get up out of there. How can we minimize anything to tell y'all this is what we need, this is what we want? We have sentimental value, but we can't get our clothes. So we can't minimize anything because everything in our apartments were important to us for some reason.
I agree with you. I am not downplaying the belongings that you have.
No, I'm not saying you're downplaying. I'm just trying to figure out how can we separate, say, okay, well, I want this, and I want this, and I want this, if we have nothing, especially our clothes. Who is going to reimburse us for our clothes? We have nothing. You know what I got out of that? They told us to come in. I had 10 minutes because my ceiling was caving in. Me and my son got out of there with 4 outfits apiece. 4. And it's ridiculous that we have nothing. Luckily, I was able to get out my picture albums, but everything else cinematic value to me, I can no longer get. We can't minimize anything because nothing is minimized. We lost everything. So how can somebody explain this to us? If they told me on the 14th floor, there's no way anyone can get there because the ceiling caved in.
The issue of the asbestos is what prevents anybody that's not certified to be in that environment to go in there. We're trying to figure out how do we go and get your belongings out of there. Some things are not going to be salvageable. That is just science. I can't do anything about that. If I did give you your clothes, your health would be at risk because asbestos, asbestos impacts the lungs. So, and I can't imagine having to get out of my house in 10 minutes. But we're trying to figure out the best way to help get things that can be salvaged and get them to you.
Go ahead, Melissa.
If I can, just briefly on the compensation issue. Every single person sitting at these tables here went through something awful. None of you should have had to experience this, and it was an absolute failure on every level. And I am horribly, horribly sorry for everything that you are going through. And what I can say about that from a compensation standpoint is you absolutely deserve to be compensated, and what we are doing to try and make sure that we can preserve those rights is working on making sure that everybody's property is documented so that there's a record of what it looks like now. Code enforcement went in and took pictures in everyone's units so that we would be able to see what property was in there and to have records so that we can help you to seek compensation later. We are looking at trying to negotiate what we can at this point, but this, unfortunately, getting compensated for this may be a long process because, as you all have noticed, your landlords have not been particularly concerned with you during this experience. They're concerned with rushing repairs and things along those lines. And so it's going to be an uphill battle. I'm not going to lie to you all. This is going to be tough, and it's going to take some time. I do know that there are also some resources that have come to light that you'll hear about shortly that can help in terms of replacing some of those items that have been destroyed by the asbestos. We're going to do our best, and it's going to take some time, and I'm sorry that I don't have a better response for you than that at this point, but we are in this to help you, and we will continue to fight for you for as long as we can and as long as we have to.
So just really quick, for those who have lost things, so I'm going to put a bunch of people on the spot. I don't know what we can do. I don't know what we can't do regarding supportive services. If we have people from the case management perspective here where people can apply for emergency assistance to replace those things provided they are approved by the guidelines, can you raise your hand, please? Because those.
If you just go to the AHS table.
Yep.
They may be able to help you with some of those supportive service clothing.
And let me reinforce this before you all ask your questions. I know I have to scoot out of here really quick. With the most sincerest heart, there was no playbook for this. There was no there's no book where you get a phone call and you're like, people are being evacuated, and either they go to a homeless shelter or we put them in a hotel. And we thought we were doing the best thing. And I know that the city attorney's office is here, and I know everyone's here, and they're really trying to make sure that justice is served on your behalf. And it's unfortunate because you have all these people here really trying to help when we're not the people that own the building. Because if it was up to me, right, it wouldn't have, but unfortunately, this is what we have, and Tony's doing the best way job he can on figuring out what people can get out of there, and the city attorney's office is saying, look, whatever you need, we'll make sure we hold them accountable, and legal aid's trying to do the best job. So I want everyone to understand, same team. We want the exact same things that you all want. We're just sorry this happened.
I think the last thing I would add to that is it is very difficult to say across the board that there's this litany of resources that will cover everything that you may have lost. As you said, you can't minimize anything. And so I think a lot of this too is ensuring that we are arming you guys with the information as it exists at this moment, because it would do each and every one of you a disservice to not be transparent about what we do and don't know and just tell you that one day maybe. So I think a lot of it will continue to be case by case, working one-on-one with each household to figure out what is the right solution, what can be recovered, and what has to be replaced. And I know that that is a very frustrating answer, but I also think it's such a disservice if we're not straightforward with you, and we leave you in limbo for a very long time. So, ma'am?
Yes, my name is Ms. Stanford. I'm dealing with 4-stage lung cancer, and just recently I went to the doctor, and my breathing is not good. You said it might take a year or more for you to feel this. You know, I've been not able to eat. I'm going through a lot since I've been through this situation, and it's because of that building. My doctor also told me there's black mold. You know, I've been breathing in this black mode all this time and didn't know it. You know, and it's hard for me to deal with anything you guys are talking about right now because I am dealing with this sickness. And it's real hard to even want anything out there building around me. I don't care if it's stuff that that's valuable to me, sentimental to me. I want nothing. All I want is my life.
That's it.
And I thank you guys for even talking to us about the whole situation.
Yeah, they're appreciated.
Hi, my name is David. I have two issues. Number one, I'm thankful. This is just gratitude. I'm thankful, although there is no playbook for what occurred to all of us, I'm thankful that we are at least in the running to make things right. This has to get right because it's going to happen again. Somebody foresaw this and dropped the ball. And the management, the owners of those buildings and or those properties must be held accountable and liable for what they did. That was intentional. I saw some of your faces out there this summer when it was 90+ degrees and there was no air. The windows were open because in the winter, it's 90+ degrees and we're up in the apartments sweating. That's why the windows were open. That's not number one. Here's number one. I bought tools and equipment over the last few years so I can build a house this summer. When I was over my son's house, home, if you will, with his family, he walks in and he says, "Dad, when are you planning on moving?" I said, "I'm ready right now." Little did I know right now was just a few hours away. And now I'm here. What happens now to the tools I bought to build myself a home and perhaps even to help some of these people in this room to establish a community? I promise you this, you give me an opportunity, I will create an organization, and I already have plans with a 21-page solution to what we have here, and it's called a community. If we don't have culture, community, family, and traditions, we have nothing. Right now, this is all broken. I will create a community and a culture. If I can get some assistance and accountability through integrity, I will create a community. I promise you that. That's number one. Number two, as we move forward, and hold up, I'm really angry. I'm not going to minimize this. I'm angry. I'm upset. I finally had to go to my boss and his boss today. I said, "Let's sit down and have a conversation. What's going on, David?" I said, "What has happened to me is finally affecting me. I can't rest. How do I sleep knowing I've got thousands of dollars of expensive clothing, some tailor-made from this body, and you telling me I can't wear them anymore?" I got thousands of dollars of tools and equipment to build my own house with the know-how and 3 books of cards of contractors, and I can assist them to build my own home, and now I can't get my tools. So what am I to do? No. Regarding liability, are we going to be required to sign paperwork to keep us from holding, as a group, those managers and those individuals who were responsible? Are we going to be required to sign a contract or a non-disclosure agreement, non-competitive agreement, or whatever it is, so we can, non-compliant agreement, so we can't file a class action? That has to happen. If not, you put my name on the paperwork and I will step forward alone. I don't care. That's where I am right now. If I split any verbs or anything, put out any bad English, no, I don't apologize. I feel the way I feel, and I don't apologize. I heard you a few minutes ago, and I so much appreciate what you said. But I don't think you all can fathom someone telling you, go upstairs, get what you can, and leave now. That goes through my mind every day and night. I'm lying there trying to go to sleep, and I'm hearing 2 or 3 women, 1 or 2 of whom are in this room, go get your things right now. You have no idea what's going on in these buildings. Get your things and get out. A few minutes later, I'm at the shelter, sitting on a cot. And in closing, I wrote a piece entitled, As I Walked Away from the Dinner Table with the lunches, the dinner, and I walked over to my cot in the corner, I heard words in my mind's eye, or spirit, entitled, From the Character of Your Ashes. That piece typifies and defines everything I have experienced and everything I have seen these people experience and people like them throughout the world. That piece, I promise you, is going to be seen, heard, and read throughout the world. Thank you.
Go ahead, Melissa. Oh, hold on, wait, hold on just a second. Just a second, sir. I just want her to be able to respond to the non-compliance.
Yeah, which was a question about having to sign away some sort of rights. At this point, there is no signing away of anything that has been a part of any discussion. And at this point, what our discussions have been with your landlord's attorneys is that we do not accept them coming in and taking your things or disposing of your things, and that they have to protect your rights. We have no intention of asking anyone to sign away their rights. And when we get to the point where we are negotiating, you are the ones who get to make those decisions. And if things like non-disclosure agreements, which they very well may ask to be put into some sort of settlement agreement if one were signed, are there and you don't want to sign them, then we say, no, we're not going to sign that. We don't have to, we get to be a part of a negotiation too. This is not just going to be a one-sided thing. Your voices will be in those rooms when that is happening. We're just not to that point yet.
In the back.
Hello. It ain't on. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What I was wondering is how long has the asbestos been in the building? And then also, correct me if I'm wrong, but when asbestos is in the building, that means the buildings are condemned. That means no one's allowed destroy and rebuild. That's what me being like part of business before.
So
If I come by a building that has asbestos in it, that building has to be condemned.
Go ahead, Tony.
So no
So with
allowed in there unless you hazmat it up to make sure the lights and the gas is not on, not to actual retrieve a desk or a television or a camera from the building. I'm not even talking about like residential here. I'm talking about like just a building. So now we talk about residents, which that'll cost a lot of money just to hazmat every house to go through to pick up this chair just because it ain't no clothes for her or his trophy from golf or something. You know what I'm saying? So, let's not talk about my shoes now.
So with regards to the asbestos, it was, the building was built using some items that had asbestos in them. That was very popular building material in the 60s and early 70s until they realized the impact of when it's broken up in the dust and the fibers begin to get into people's lungs. As far as the building itself, there are methods of cleaning it, and that's what North American Environmental Services does, is they go in, early on, it was demolish the whole thing, get rid of it, put it in a special landfill. But they have come up with ways to, with HEPA vacuums and wipe down solutions and so forth, that they can wipe these things down to hard surfaces and get them clean so that you can use them again and they're safe to use. The building itself, the same thing will happen to that. For the most part, quite frankly, from our standpoint, all of the utilities in there, the gas, the electric, the air conditioning, all that, quite frankly, need to be removed and started from scratch. Everything in there, unfortunately, as many of you all know, over the years, were Band-Aided repairs. A lot of times, management companies, we didn't know, they didn't take out permits to have us come and inspect. They just did stuff. And if we didn't know about it, we didn't know about it to be out there. We don't do annual inspections on what people do on their buildings. We can't, and there would be large backlash against that in general. People generally don't want us coming into their houses or their residence. But with the buildings themselves, the structure itself can be made safe again through cleaning, and then the structures themselves are still sound. It's all the systems in there that are just completely aged out and have been repaired using duct tape and baling wire, unfortunately.
Ms. Tiara, I saw, and then we'll come back to this gentleman. Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
I wasn't done about the
I
asbestos.
apologize, sir.
So should we go get this asbestos checked out in our body?
You can
Because
go
actually, I've always said, like, damn, they need to change the filters when I'm laying there or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's making more sense now.
You can go to doctors and our tests that can be done, but generally speaking, if it's a long term from the actual exposure. Unfortunately, this is a real slow acting situation for you. Think about a black lung. You know, how many miners are healthy for 10, 20 years, and then all of a sudden their breathing starts to get bad. They can't get oxygen into their system. Asbestos is very sneaky. And so that was the reason why we shut things down when we did. That's why North American is in there, and they've got the building sealed up, and we're trying to figure out what we can make safe that can be taken back, given back to you. And whatever else is left there has got to be rolled up into sealed dumpsters and taken to a special landfill so that those fibers don't escape.
Sir?
Yes, thank you. My name is Robert Elmore. We all appreciate what you've done, but it's what we don't hear about is what's worrying us. Look, I lost my house a few years ago. I took everything of value with me. Now, everything of value that I've had all of my life, damn near all of my parents' lives, is sitting in that apartment. That stuff I want. There's ammunition in that apartment. I want to see that secured. It's locked up in a case, nothing got to it. I have a lot of stuff that I never unpacked that can be taken out of there. Okay, there's a lot of stuff in my apartment. I don't know what pictures they took. I know they didn't take pictures of the stuff that was in the cases in there. So, I mean, I can't get anyone in there to judge what it's worth because they won't let us in the buildings. But now y'all are talking about this, but you're not telling me when. When can I go in and you can say, okay, you can take that, and that. Right now, I've got an apartment. I don't even have a bed. So why am I paying for an apartment that I can't live in?
So to address two
This
of
is what we need to know.
the, okay.
We need someone to come in and say, hey, we're doing this, this, and this. It'll be next week or the week after. Okay? You're telling us stuff and it's just floating.
So as far as you mentioned the pictures, code enforcement went in and took general pictures to document the state of the different units. There wasn't wasn't a full inventory, but it's beginning to want to have documentation of what is in the units that we can't get in right now. As to the different material that you have, the different belongings you have in there, we've had multiple meetings with the owners from last Friday to this past Tuesday to this morning, talking about trying to get protocols in place, get something in place so we can get things out that belong to you and that you want. I don't have, trust me, if I had a date and I can tell you next Wednesday, we're gonna start putting people back in there or getting material out, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Because I don't know at this point, so.
All the military records, everything is in that apartment.
I understand.
Is this, okay, hey. Thank you, everybody, for your testimony. I'm just another resident, but I appreciate everybody's like heartfelt comments because I'm about to cry listening to y'all. I done paid every week on furniture, and the week before Christmas, it's been in my house, but now I lost all that money. Friday, if y'all came on the 23rd, why didn't you tell the managers to tell us to open up our cabinets, let the hot water drip? Really preventative measures. Why would you let them tear stuff up without letting us get our things out? Like, why why step on us? Because it's not that hard for you guys. It's just hard for us. It's kind of messed up. What is the protocol for the asbestos? Are we gonna be allowed to go in and say what's important? If there's things in a Tupperware tub, are we gonna be able to go in there physically with protection on? I literally live on the 13th floor. I had to walk my son down with ice on the steps. And when I get back to this place, you said it was a placard Monday or Tuesday. No, it was that same day. No time to do nothing, like no help, no nothing. Like, y'all really stepped on us, and I know everybody in here is upset. We're very grateful for the help because you guys don't own nothing. But at the same time, where was the preventative measures? If you were there beforehand, if you were on it, if you were arguing with the apartments, why wouldn't you make sure that we were straight before they did any type of anything? That's kind of my frustration. But the things about the asbestos, what are we gonna do? Like, y'all just gonna go through our stuff and see if it's important or not? Like, are we gonna be able to go in there personally and make sure we get what's properly able to come out? And how are we gonna be able to clean it and make sure? Like, that's where I'm at with it.
So I'll address, you've got a number of questions and points there. On Friday the 23rd, when I and myself and Heather and Joe and Edgar were there, we saw there were open windows. And of course, the buildings are we're about 40% occupancy.
Close the windows, that's it. Nothing
Well-
else to prevent freezing.
I'm going to tell you at least what we did. I can't, there are certain things I can't tell or I can't force a landowner to do. That's bottom line. I don't have the authority to tell them to do things like that. We walked around every door handle in both buildings and touched every door handle, because with the winds, we could tell which units had an open window in it, because the door handle on the inside was cold. Not just chill, not just cool, they were cold. We had 34 units that we had identified in both buildings that had, the door handles were cold. That told us somewhere in that unit, there was a window open or a sliding glass door open somewhat. So we reported that, we gave that to the gentleman that was supposedly the manager on site, and then we also reached out to Ben up in Cleveland and said, you've got a problem here, you need to come down and fix it. And his response was, we're snowed in Cleveland. I don't have the authority to break down doors or go into units to close those windows. He obviously sent an email to the 40% of the units that were occupied, but there was still 60% of the units that were ignored, or at least they were obviously left open, and that's where I suspect majority of the breaks were occurring. So as far as, I don't want to, I can't sugarcoat this. I cannot, well, it's not me, it's the remediation company that's there, that's taking the liability of going through and cleaning the building. They can't, by state law, allow people into these buildings, into these units, without proper PPE and certain certifications. So, no, the certifications are weeks of training and understanding of what you're dealing with.
To go inside and like, we have to just trust whoever's volunteering.
We're not going to rummage through your things. We've asked them to come up with a plan. We've talked about different ways of doing it internally, whether videotaping, whether lists of things, trying to figure out where they are. We don't know the final answer for that. We're just right now trying to, the owner is the one that is responsible for putting this together and helping you all as the owner. Now, as we've demonstrated, and you all know, the owners are not good actors. I am limited with what our staff can do, and we're trying our very best to continue to try to coordinate and be there to help coordinate things and get you all your material. But I cannot, none of my staff can go into the buildings.
But just to clarify one item, Tony, and then the process that the ownership is putting together, that has to be approved by you and the city attorney's office. So it is not just ownership saying this is how we're going to do it.
Right.
We have the ability to weigh in and ensure that it is not just what works for them.
We're acting somewhat, Steve, hopefully I don't overstep here, but we're acting somewhat as your advocates, and as we're talking to the owners and the owners' reps with getting this material, getting your belongings out of there. So we are advocating, and my director is advocating heavily to get things clean so we can get them out. But we can't put the plan together. They've got to put the plan together and tell us what can be done.
Ms. Vivian, who has the microphone? Yes, ma'am.
My concern is one of her questions. How do you know where your things are if you're not in there? If you go in there, I know where my stuff is. When I say I have valuable stuff in that home, you wouldn't believe. I have ashes of people that are dead and their belongings. I have drawings of my aunt that drew with one hand. I have Janet Jackson's autograph. It's endless, the value. And I have severe mental health, and I've had a breakdown for 3 weeks. Behind this, days I couldn't get out of bed. And you're just talking to us like you're patty caking me, and I don't like it.
Placate you or trying to give you information or hide information from you. I'm telling you what I know at this point.
The reason it doesn't feel that way is because you guys have been going in and out this building for weeks, and nobody knew none of this. I don't understand that.
My code officers on that Wednesday, when the Ohio EPA came by and told us there was asbestos in there, none of my staff went into those buildings. I've had one staffer that's had a couple of meetings there in the immediate foyer, but not in the place where the disturbances occurred are in the 2 towers, not in that center building where their offices are. None of my staff, matter of fact, if you know of any of my staff that's been in there, I want to know.
There were
Because
people that were coming in and out of our apartments for weeks, knocking on our doors saying, we're from code enforcement, we need to see this.
So
and that.
that's prior to the moisture remediation company coming in and tearing up carpets and dislodging the asbestos. Prior to that, we'd still be getting.
Saying about the asbestos or anything, the problem that happened Christmas that made us have to evacuate. Why was it no one knowing what was going on?
We set up a process right after that so that folks could get an appointment and get in there and get their belongings out or get what they needed in the short term.
Because of my anxiety.
Yeah, I think what you're
wasn't at Dodge at all. I never went to Dodge. I can't. I can't be around a whole bunch of people because my anxiety goes too high. So I was sleeping in my car for days, and then I had an extended stay the night before. This has affected me a lot. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm trying to get you to understand where people are coming from. We're human beings that have been just ripped. This is not the first time this happened to me, but this is worse. I lost everything in 2007, and here I go again. And not only that, I'm losing valuables this time, possibly. I can tell you where the stuff is on the shelf, but I can't tell you where everything is. That's my problem. It's a big issue. And it's not fair to us at all.
And the rent $1,000.
Yeah, and the rent's too high for this. Everything. I mean, we had mice running around for months. All the stuff that was going on prior to this was just as bad. That was raising my anxiety to the roof. My apartment was a 1-bedroom, so I'm here, this is the couch, and the end of that table is where the mouse was running. I mean, literally, because that's where the kitchen is. And they never fixed that. I just don't know. And then the thing is, okay, the compensation could take a long time, but the problem is there a way that we could be compensated prior to being compensated, if that makes sense? Because we don't have anything. We're, like, a lot of people don't have anything. I'm on a fixed income. A lot of us are. How do we buy anything? And yeah, it's clothes, but I'm beyond clothes. My stuff.
I
think
just
he
want to
was
read you,
in
this
that.
is Bart Logan, I'm with Job and Family Services here. We do, Beth Pierre, who's been walking around here, Beth is raising her hand there. If you have not had a chance yet, please, she has forms, and we can help through our HHS agencies with supportive services, with, some reimbursement to assist with some of those things. Again, that's in addition to what they're going to be fighting for from the city attorney's office and legal aid. I also want to quick note too, if you have not filled out a registration form, really ask you to please do that. We want your contact information, so we're going to be able to follow up with all of you, getting you that in all the next steps after that. So if you've not filled out a registration form from here, or if you did not pre-register for that, please fill one of those out so we can connect with you after this.
So I do want to do one thing here. I think everybody at this table will stay as long as possible, and I want to be able to talk about rehousing. So I'm going to acknowledge the questions that I saw, those two, this one, gentleman right back here, okay? And then we're going to go into the rehousing portion, and then we will come back and do questions and answers for as long as we need to, okay?
All right, I missed part of it when I first got in here, but you guys were talking about the windows being open. Now, when they put that note up, I even made it a comment saying that they're gonna do that to save their butts. Those pipes were bursting in the summertime. We had to walk through inches and inches of water down in the basement. They were already bursting. Those windows did not cause any of those pipes to burst. Along with the sewage bursting, outside there was 2-inch feet thick of just urine that poured out of the ceilings all over the place. And not to mention that we didn't have a fridge for 7 months. We told them about bed bugs in the house. They didn't do a thing about it. I mean, they're trying to blame us for something that they should have been fixing a long time ago. And this is, I mean.
We apologize for coming in late. We just got off work. But there's a lot of frustration and anger that's being felt by all of us. Not just the issue with we didn't have a refrigerator from February to September. They never did anything about it. We paid double deposit, and we paid our rent up in advance. They're still saying that we owe money for the rent that we've already paid for. The ledgers are wrong. The accuracy of the money count is wrong. When we reported the bed bug situation to them, they told us that maintenance was going to go downstairs and bring something up to address the bed bugs. They never did it. I had to go down to the office and ask them about it. They said they didn't have the supplies within the building. And then when we moved in, we found that
If we wanted hot water, remember? We got it.
after code enforcement came in, we were told that if we wanted hot water in our unit, since we've been there since February, we've never had hot water. And then our water pressure that was coming out of our bathroom for our shower was just a trickle. the entire time that we were there. But when we addressed this with management, they told us that if we wanted a better environment, a better apartment,
And if
that,
you wanted hot water.
that we wanted hot water, we had to pay an additional $300, and they was going to move us to another unit. And this was after code enforcement had already come in and told them to get us out of the unit we was in. And in the summertime, we had noticed that the hallways will always be cooler, and when code enforcement would come in, the building was nice and cool. But our apartments were always hot. So I went and looked inside our vents. We had ceiling tiles that were screwed into the vents that were blocking the airflow of the air conditioning coming into the apartment. When I took the ceiling tiles out, our apartment was just fine. But it's those little things. I mean, it's 7 months just to get a working refrigerator. And they called our unit the showroom unit. Our pipes in the kitchen never had a connecting pipe. It took myself, yeah, it took us, myself and the maintenance. I went and got the maintenance man. I said, I'll give you $10 if you just come help me do this right now. I've already got the parts for it. That's all I need your help. And it took us 2 minutes to just pop the pipe on there. My truck. My truck's been broken to 3 times, and it's not from the residents living in the complex. So, in our maintenance, our surveillance, our security, and the cameras would work to the benefit of the management. But when it comes to our personal belongings, there's no records of anything. Or when the mailboxes got broken into, no record of that. There's no images, no nothing. 3 times my truck's parked in the same spot, right in the front. My window's still busted out of my truck because I said I'm getting tired of fixing it. But I've only been here since February. I can't imagine what everybody else has been through. But since I've been there, this is ridiculous. Bed bugs, roaches. Yeah, and I know 529 was worse than 521, but for us to be on the 14th floor and both of us having asthma, and they know this, I had a medical request that they give us an air conditioner additional. That never happened. I mean, this.
So can I have a moment for Miss Melissa to speak to your rent, the rent being owed?
Pretty much everything that you've listed off there is, as many people in this room know, was a common occurrence in that unit, in that complex. And pretty much everything that you listed off there is a landlord-tenant violation in one way or another. And one of the things that as legal aid goes through and works with the people who have asked us to assist them, and if you haven't had the opportunity to talk with legal aid, we are in the back this evening if you had wanted to talk with a lawyer about this, is that we are going to be looking at what each and every one of you went through. And trying to figure out how to address the specific wrongs that were done to each and every one of you. But each and every one of you was wronged, and it's going to be a process to get all of that information together. So we want you to be aware of these things. We want you to remember these things. We want to be able to help you to seek compensation for all of that if that is what you would like. But we have to have individual conversations with people because everyone in this room has their own specific things that happen to them, and we've got to be able to address.
I want to ask if we can follow up. No, because I have other folks who are also waiting, and I want to be sure that we get to the whole second half of the agenda. We will all be happy to stay as long as possible to answer. We got, the gentleman behind has the mic, and then where did the mic go? Yeah. And then coming to you, sir. Yep,
Yes.
right after him. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Stacy. This is a important question for you all to even think, for your own residents. Let's be honest. The people here, we know where we stay. To the city of Columbus and to different parts of, Columbus, they look at that as a poor area. So, when it's looking like that, it's an poor area with high crime rate. So our value when it comes to y'all suing the city or whatever, it's not going to be the value that we deserve, because I feel like, and I know that like other people feel like we're not really going to get our true value, our true money's worth when it comes to our belongings, because of where we live at, some people might look at like, excuse me for my language, like, damn, they ain't got that type of money in their house. They ain't got that type of car or stuff like that. So some people have $10,000 or $20,000 worth of equity items in their, it's a possession. And some people like me, you know what I'm saying, because it was spur of the moment, we didn't expect this to be prolonged, you know what I'm saying, this long. So like we have clothes and stuff like that that's, you know what I'm saying, that's still there because I didn't expect this to be like this or whatever. So I pretty much lost everything. But prime example as you know what I'm saying, let's use the Holocaust. You know what I'm saying, they took the clothing, you know what I'm saying, from them, and they still reused them. So my question is that is there any research or any thing that can any like cleaning equipment that can be used so that we can still save our clothes? Because I'm pretty sure there are some type of like cleaning or, you know what I'm saying, things or whatever that can save our, you know what I'm saying, belongings. Oh, you know what I'm saying, it's over with? All right, so, all right, cool.
The contractor that is doing the cleaning is a local company that we've dealt with in years past over building zoning. And he is telling us, and I've got to rely on his judgment and his knowledge, because I'm not an expert on asbestos. And he's the one trained in remediation of asbestos exposure. And he's telling us that because asbestos is a fiber, and it gets into the other fibers and doesn't come out right away to their cleaning or their vacuuming. And that's the reason why he feels that things like couches and mattresses and clothing are not salvageable.
Okay, so what about, I ain't gonna lie to you, I got very, very important family photos. You know what I'm saying? Because I know some people here, or, you know what I'm saying, they might be 83 years old, or they might have an 83-year-old, you know what I'm saying, grandma. I do, you know, and I can't take that loss. Oh, you know what I'm saying, of like not having a, you know what I'm saying, having my grandma family picture. You know what I'm saying? And I got family pictures that can't be.
Those lines can be cleaned and wiped down so that the fibers are taken off of it. It's just fabric, fibers get in and they just can't get it. They can't get it out to where they can guarantee it's safe. And so for their liability, they're not gonna even try to clean clothing and furniture like that, because they incur the liability if they give you something and down the road you show signs of having asbestos. It's their liability then, so they won't do that.
Are things safe, you know what I'm saying, are things safe that's already in bags? Is that still able to be, you know what I'm saying, taken out or no?
Say that again?
I have, you know what I'm saying, some belongings that like I put in, you know what I'm saying, bags already. So like, is that safe to take out or no?
Well, that's one of the things I'm gonna take. I know someone else was talking about their material being in cases and in plastic bins. That's one of the comments, or one of the questions I'm gonna ask when we sit down and talk with the remediation company next week, and say, you know, if they're sealed, is it safe to take out? Can you wipe down the outside and bring it down? That's a question that I've already written down that I want to ask about. Because if it can, then that's another step closer to getting belongings back into your hands.
And one last question. I've been there for like 6 years. There was a time period where we was getting robbed by the Hound Dog Towing Company. A lot of people have lost a lot of money, lost vehicles. I lost like 4 vehicles, you know what I'm saying, from there because they came onto private property illegally, towing vehicles at 4 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning. So was those, you know what I'm saying, with those expenses, you know what I'm saying, will be added, you know what I'm saying, and with the lawsuit, you know what I'm saying, because that was a big hit, you know what I'm saying, with a lot of people.
Yeah. So things that occurred previously are probably not, that aren't a part of what has happened recently, are probably not going to be a part of any case, particularly if they occurred prior to the current management and current owners being involved in it. There's a thing in the law called a statute of limitations, which goes for criminal and civil actions, that gives a limit of time in which you can bring a claim afterwards, and some of those statutes may have already passed. I would recommend that if you had wanted to look at seeking compensation for those previous things, that you would speak with an attorney. Unfortunately, legal aid does the landlord-tenant piece, but wouldn't do the car piece, so you would have to talk with another attorney about that, but they'd be able to give you better legal advice.
So this gentleman's the final question, and then we're turning it over to Ms. Rosetta. No, can you use the microphone, sir?
I
Sorry.
don't really need it.
I know, but we're filming it so that other residents.
Any kind of limitation is not justice. It's not real justice.
You know, first of all, I don't think anybody here is surprised that that building is like it is right now. The city knew it. It didn't just on December, all of a sudden we all knew. The building has always been like that. And what I'm hearing here now from us, a lot about lawsuits. You know, with a lot of people, when you mention lawsuit, we'll get hung up on we gonna get a big amount of money. And I hear y'all saying, we telling the landlords they gotta do this and they gotta do this. Look like there would be some type of emergency thing where our needs would be taken care of by those, just like you requiring them, you gotta have this fixed in 6 months. Well, you need to get these tenants squared away in 2 months. You know, a lawsuit, we go in a lawsuit is years down the road. We need help right now. Not about no lawsuit, right now. Right now is when we need help. And you know, y'all come in, y'all know how this building, well, this building been flipping since 1969. And it's all good, but take care of us, and then all that other stuff, lawsuits and all that, I want some money too. But I'm saying right now, I need to get squared away. Because that don't do nothing but put you more in the hole the longer you like that. We need to get squared away and get back going so we can get moving forward. And then all that lawsuit and all that other stuff, we can deal with that. But we need to be able to do now. Like you telling the landlords, y'all got to fix this building else I'm going to do this. Well, if y'all don't get furlough squared away, I'm going to do this. You know, we should be the priority right now. Not some lawsuits y'all talking about filing down the road. We want something right now. We need to get help. And we need to, you know, we need services.
Are you going to like answer to paperwork and stuff and documents, or are you going to serve people? That's the thing. Okay, this is perpetual for centuries. Okay, you're superior. We're fixing. Okay, it's a perpetual system that you're working for. And you can send somebody in there with a suit on and start bringing that stuff out and put them on a U-Haul truck and bring them over to the building.
Nice about this. Because right about now, you're not giving no answers, you're giving bullshit answers. To everyone here. And this question goes for the city attorney. Why isn't it both these two managers aren't sitting in someone's jail? Because if that would be a black slumlord, he or she would be sitting in jail right now. Because you giving these two men ample time to get the codes up to standards. I've been there. I've been living at Sawyer Manor since 2010. I've seen Project Manors come and go. The last two was a female who didn't do a goddamn thing but embezzled the money, went and bought a house for herself and her friend. You let these two come in and they're doing the same goddamn thing. You're worried about them, but not about the residents of Latitude 525. Everyone now, and it seems like you're about, and you seem like you're about to do something that you don't want no one to know about. Somewhere down the line, this building is about to be renovated or tore down,
and another apartment complex is going to be built, luxury apartments for white suburban people to move back into the city, which isn't fair. Now, it's been talked long ago that that the city and the county was going to try and start moving African Americans out of the city to the suburbs. Why? Answer the first question first. And don't bullshit me, because I know a bullshitter when I hear one.
So I will tell you what
They moved the seniors out a while back. I used to live across the street at 1022 Caldwell Place. I called the city many days and many nights, and they got tired of me calling. And
I'm sorry.
by the way, my name is Ann Barrett. I live in the area. I'm the one that called on early Christmas morning, the 911, where the elevators wasn't working. When I was trying to get up into my apartment, I live right up on the 12th floor. Couldn't get up there due to the fact that elevators wasn't working 7-something in the morning. I still got the 911 call saved on my phone, where the chief called me back and say for the people to evacuate the building. I went back up here to Westerville to my son to enjoy Christmas. I left my apartment on Saturday evening, due to the fact that there was no heat. The heat started going out ever since Thursday. I had just went to the grocery store, bought a lot of groceries on Thursday. All of that's going to waste now. They shouldn't have never, ever, even up until now, after the fact that we had to evacuate the building, let somebody else come in and sell it to them. And like he said, that's true because I've been heard that too. But we can't blame it on the whites and we can't blame it on the blacks.
That's right.
Whoever they pick and choose, the building should have been torn down. Ever since they got them seniors out of there. I live across the street. You can pull the city record. I called. So much crime and stuff, people getting killed and stuff. The sidewalks. The maintenance people have the keys going in our apartment, stealing our stuff. I don't think so much. I'm on trial since I died 3 times in 2020. My kidneys failed. I didn't know why I kept going in and out of the hospital after the fact I moved there. But now y'all speak about the assets because I have breathing problems. Winded up on oxygen. And I'm still trying to stay strong and help a lot of these residents in here. I got a dialysis right around the corner there. I have to come and sit and wait from morning to night to find out what was going on. Not only for me, for the residents as well.
Look your mama.
They need to tear it down, build it down.
How the fuck you feel?
God allowed us to be. Look what he allowed it to be. He allowed it on Christmas Day. God is making people. Merry Christmas. He's speaking to us all. Merry Christmas, you home. And stop was sweating. I did have people to go up there and get me a little bit of thing and bring down my oxygen tank. We need help. I don't give a damn if God bringing Joe back. He should be here now, helping us. Ms. Rosetta worked around the clock. Stu and his organization from the Linden area that help keep the crime off the street from people, kids getting killed and murdered.
I love you, Ed.
Every day.
Talk about it.
That's what you We can always get material things. Right now, we need beds to sleep in. Furniture in our apartment. Right now. Now. Now.
Right now.
Yes.
All right.
And I want to thank each and everybody that got out of their bed on Christmas Day and they're acting to help us.
Screw the
I
process.
just stepped in
Write
to
us
help
checks.
them sit. I don't get no rest. I come and sit in that lobby at the Red Inn from morning to night to find out what's going on.
We appreciate you, Ms. Anna, for doing that. Ms. Rosetta, do you want to talk a little bit about the work you're doing?
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate all the conversation thus far. What I want to talk to you about, I have been given a rent roll of 154 tenants that were at the project. I have interviewed 95. So please turn to your neighbor and say, have you seen Ms. Brown? Because I'm still looking for some folks. I'm looking for a lot of folks, and I need you guys to please come to see me so that I can conduct your assessment. Once that assessment is done, we're gonna move you through the process. I can tell you there's 37 of you who have been approved. Some of you have actually been approved for brand-new apartments. Ms. Ann is one of them. And so we are so, so glad. I know you're, yes, and I know you're looking and wanting to get information about your things. A lot of you have expressed to me that your things were in, conditions that you may not want to move them anyway. There are bed bugs, I've been told, the buildings, the units that you are in. We understand that. Again, what we want to try to do, again, is move you through the process as quickly as possible. It is going to be real important for you to see me. So if you haven't seen me, come find me, because I'm coming to find you. I need to talk to all of you so that I can assess what's going on and get you moved. I'll get you this evening. One of the things we want to talk really quickly about, and I'll let Tony have the floor as well, the actual things that we know that we can provide to you is through the furniture bank right now. What you're gonna do with me, so you'll see me over and over before you move out, you're going to go through the process. I'm gonna take a list of things that you need. So my list will consist of bed, dressers, kitchen items, sofa, chairs, things like that. The Furniture Bank has stepped up and they are willing to provide those things for you free of charge. And so, and the delivery is gonna be free as well. So again, it is very important that you see me so that I can take the list of just necessary items that you need. I heard Miss Ann mention a bed. She's ready to move into her brand new apartment. And so I'll see her real soon so that I can get the list of things that she needs and all of you. So you'll all see me. It is very important that we do this in order. I want to turn it over to Tony so he can talk a little bit more about the Furniture Bank. Thank you.
Just jump in right there. So a couple things. The law ain't fair. A lot of stuff isn't fair. I will tell you, putting those two guys in jail, it doesn't work out that way. I will tell you, if we're focusing on those two guys, we're missing the bad actors. The bad actors are not the two dopes they run into town to work the front desk. The bad actors are the guys in New York and New Jersey who collect the big checks. That is where our focus is, taking their buildings away from them and taking their money away from them.
Are the amenities that were promised in the lease that we were never able to use, that's something that we can go back and do? As far as the rec room,
So that's another landlord-tenant law question. And I know that everyone has lots of questions about their specific situations, and rather than, it's not possible for me to answer those all right now, but what I want you to do is, if you haven't had the chance to talk with the legal aid yet and you have landlord-tenant law questions, we can get your information tonight, and then we can talk to you individually about what's going on in your case, because that's the way that we're going to be able to give people the best information about what their specific rights are, because everyone's had a different experience and been wronged in different ways, and we want to make sure we're giving everyone the right information. I'm sorry, we've got to go back to Ms. Rosetta.
This will be real quick. My name is Tony Wells. I'm with the Wells Foundation. I've been working in the nonprofit sector for the last 21 years. I have a partnership with the city. My role is to ensure that as new housing is identified, that a payment is processed as quickly and efficiently as possible to ensure that your landlord gets paid the security deposit and then the ongoing rent subsidy on a monthly basis. I work directly with Rosetta. She has identified 6 individuals with new apartments in the last 24 hours. All of those checks have been processed and mailed to the landlords. So it is our goal to make sure that we don't miss out on any opportunities. It's a very competitive process out there, finding the housing. And the easiest way for us to ensure that it is secured for you is to get the check in the hands of the landlord for your security deposit. So I will be working directly with Rosetta to make sure that all of that happens quickly. So, through my network of being in the nonprofit sector for 21 years, I work with about 200 nonprofits, and I have a long list of things that I was unaware of until tonight, so thank you for sharing those personal experiences. But we will leverage our network within the nonprofit sector and the other funders in the community to try to find whatever resources we can, including the partnership with the Furniture Bank. So.
I don't know who has the mic these days. Perfect. Yeah. So if there are questions related to Rosetta and Tony's work, okay. Oh, hold on. I want to get the mic just so. No, you're fine, ma'am. For anyone who isn't able to make it in person, I want to make sure we can.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Ms. Brown. I want to say that because you helped me out. I thank everybody. We appreciate everybody, but you do have to understand our frustration. But this is my question. Okay, I was approved for my apartment yesterday, thank the Lord, because I can't take this hotel no more. I'm about to lose my mind. Honestly, I'm about to lose my mind. But what about the people? Because there are stipulations. You understand what I'm saying? As far as you can't have evictions for like 7 years or 3 years back. You can't have this. You can't have that. So what's going to happen to the people that can't get an apartment because of their past? Our past really shouldn't define who we are today, honestly. But that's just society. We can't help that. But with this situation right here, it's an emergency. So I got mine, but I knew people that got evicted and they're upset about it. Where can they go, or how can y'all help them? Because it's not fair. They still deserve their housing.
Thank you so much for that. And we have identified some on an individual basis. We'll be talking to them. We understand what the challenges are, and we will be working with them individually. Our goal is to house everyone. Thank you.
I just wanted to piggyback on what she was saying. I got a family of 6, so I can't just up and find a house tomorrow. And they've been missing school for the last 2 weeks because there ain't been no buses to take them to school. I can't just walk my kids through the snow and get them on a bus and drive them all the way and put them in school. So they talking about they might fail my kids. So you want to tell me just go find me a place, and there ain't no landlord that's gonna give me a place tomorrow. And then I want to there's a lawsuit for physical and emotional damage that's just caused my family, because I got to speak to them every day. They look at me as a man to provide for them, and I can't got no answers for them. So can you give me some answers I can give to my family every day about what we gonna do? Because there's a lot of emotional. I think they should be sued criminally for this. You know what I'm saying? I can't give this back to my kids every day. this time is gonna be forever for them. Is it?
We understand, and I want to see you too afterwards, because I have a couple of landlords that are going to help you.
Okay, what about my kids' emotional damage? This is schooling they've been missed. They can't get that back. Here you go, man.
We're still having issues with the school. Basically, the bus is taking my kids to school, but the bus is not allowing my daughter, my middle schooler, to even get on the bus to come back. Her principal was Ubering her home, but she just sent me a text yesterday saying that the Ubers, she already done paid $60 for the Ubers. She's not doing it. She can't afford to do it anymore. So that's an issue I'm having. But I call Project Connect the week that they missed the whole week of school. I call Project Connect every day. I call Columbus City. I even call Central Enrollment because I just needed the answers for that. So my thing is this, like, is this something that you guys can do for these children because they're missing school? First it was the buses wasn't coming out there, and then now it's that my daughter can't get home from school. She can get to school, but she can't get back. So it's anything that Project Connect or maybe the transportation can do. Maybe if they just send them a van to pick them up from school and bring them back. Because I don't drive, I don't have transportation to go all the way out there to pick her up from school every day.
Guys calling you in the morning to see what we can get to make sure your kids get back in school. Did you fill out a blue comment card? A blue comment card?
Okay.
Okay.
It's not for a person like me. What I mean by a person like me, I was living in a building, single man, one bedroom. Like, they got kids and stuff, so they provide, like, they told me I make too much for the food stamps or any type of help. You know what I'm saying? But I don't, for real. But on paper I do. So what about us? When I say that, like even at the hotel I'm staying in, I gotta buy food every day. Yeah. Not to knock what they provide for everybody, because they do provide the meal for everybody. But I'm 280. I can't eat that. You know what I'm saying? I eat real food, and that's getting expensive. It's damn near $1 a day. You know what I'm saying? It's almost $100 a day. You know what I'm saying? At least 50. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is by myself. You know what I'm saying? So, and then it's hard for me to get a crib too, because I'm last on the list. Not saying that that's a problem, because I can do that, but man, I step back and try to handle that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I work, so when it's time for me to talk to somebody, I'm like 2 days late on everything that's going on. Like I had to come get the note off my door today just for this meeting. You know what I'm saying? Because I haven't been here in 2 days. I do something else with my life. So I don't understand. Like I need help myself, but I don't know where to get it from. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not in the meetings. So I don't know what it is and what it ain't for me to push forward what I gotta do to get up out of here myself. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, sir. I would say I want to connect you with our HHS team. We are going to, there are obviously eligibility and income eligibility guidelines with a lot of our programs, but what we're able to do through our different HHS agencies are leverage what is available and exhaust every single resource that we have available to try to get you what you can, and then if not, provide referrals to other supportive services. So if you have not connected with Beth Pierre, Beth, if we could get his information and potentially connect him over here so we can do follow-up and determine what exactly we can help you with through, whether it's through JFS or through one of our other HHS agencies on that side. And then I think Ms. Brown may be able to speak a little bit more on the rehousing side.
You guys didn't follow up in February, like the code enforcement, why you guys didn't follow up? Did anybody address that? Because yeah, it's been cold water like every other weekend.
right.
No heat.
Freezing.
So why didn't you guys follow up back in February when there was a problem?
Back in February of 22?
That happened for the city and not for us. Like we're like drywall. We could be knocked out and replaced. So why wasn't it
taken care of for a whole year now.
Yeah, because I called 3 times code enforcement back in February, and no one came out.
I obviously don't know every record of all 30,000 complaints that our code enforcement deals with. I can go back, I can give you a card before we leave here. I can pull all the records and see what happened with that, but I don't have the ability to know what happens to all 30,000 complaints that our code enforcement folks deal with every year.
It's 30,000. You trying to sugarcoat everything like y'all aren't at fault too for not handling your end of the deal. Like, don't act all innocent like y'all trying to help us and make all these things move and happen. But back in February, when y'all could have did something or closed the building down respectfully and had us move out respectfully,
Right.
you didn't do nothing. And now we're here and you have no resources for the immediate attention that people need. Like, this is ridiculous. Quit sugarcoating and take account of the things y'all didn't follow through with for a whole year now. And
Because ain't nobody with Section 8 and low income supposed to have been living in that
the
building.
best thing that happened to y'all,
They
not to
couldn't
us.
pass inspection in the first place. So nobody that had low income or Section 8 should have been in that building. You've been there anyway.
I'm just paying rent. Straight out.
It's not that we're trying to sugarcoat anything. Part of what we've been dealing with this building for more than a year, for a lot of years, as many of you all know. We have done what we can within our limits. There are certain limits that we have to work with.
You have to sometimes. You do.
I cannot. I will lose my job and then I can't do anything. So that's why we're going the route of the lawsuit as aggressively as we are.
And just real quick, so February is when we filed the lawsuit. And I mean, I would just flat out say we didn't get it done in time. And you know, man, when you say, well, the best thing that could happen is this, it's the worst thing that could have happened. I would tell you, we wrestled with them in court. We got an order. They had to sell it. We screened who was coming in. We thought we were going to get there with no one having to be disrupted, with having good owners come in, keep all of you in place, and get you in a good, decent, safe place to live. None of this ever having to happen to you. It sucks. It takes so long, but February to now, I mean, up to and including today, has been them, their lawyers, wrestling with them in court to get to the point. And when Christmas Day happened, what was the plan that was going to get the people in 2 weeks later was not the plan anymore.
And right now, they're walking around as if nothing is fucking wrong. Once again, if this would have been a black slumlord, they'd be sitting in jail right now. This is not fair.
No arguments from me.
Everyone here has been uprooted. It's unfair. Some of us have jobs, which would only take me, 15 minutes to get to work? Now it takes 45 minutes to get to work. You're not paying for my gas to and from.
It's not resources for us right now to get through with life. I don't even have a stovetop in this room. Like, I have to eat crap from McDonald's or whatever they're trying to help us with in the lobby. Like, I'll try and eat it, but like, I would like a stove. I would like certain resources. Like, like food stamps that I can't get either.
Right.
I can't get food stamps either. There's so many resources that you're not paying attention to what normal people need to be healthy. Y'all making us sicker by throwing us in these there's mold in the refrigerator at the Red Roof Inn. This is ridiculous. I'm not even caring about where we're at right now. It's not
the ice machine too.
If this would have been, and excuse me for what I'm about to say, if this would have been a whole white room right here, the resources would have been right then and there. Yeah, it is. Right about now it is.
Okay, so I want to take an opportunity to acknowledge other folks who also have questions. So there's a woman that's, ma'am with the microphone. Hi. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Yeah, I was just wondering if there's any assistance with application fees. There's 3 adults in my house, so they want $50 an adult plus a $100 administration fee for everywhere we're applying? Is there any assistance with that?
So yeah, can you come and see me tomorrow? Thank you.
All right, and then the gentleman, back with Graham. That gentleman has been waiting forever to ask a question. The one that's talking to you right now. Oh, are you answering his question?
Do you want me to answer the question?
Oh, yeah, no, he had a question, so if you're addressing it, cool.
I'm getting still a lot of questions about when people can get back in.
Oh, my God. No.
I think that I'm getting a lot of questions
No.
about when people can get back in.
Yeah.
I- Going over the timeline again, I think
Yeah.
this would be helpful.
Okay, so I mean, I think that the very frank answer that the gentleman is saying is that we are still establishing that timeline, that it is unsatisfactory, and that we, as soon as we have more information, we will share it. And we understand that. Ma'am, you had a question in the back, ma'am?
I know that you guys have like a lot of resources, but what I just don't appreciate is just like some of us have jobs and some of us work, so we're not always able to go down to the main lobby just to see what's going on. So what I just don't like, what I don't personally like is just like the miscommunication. So like we're just guessing. Like I'll look outside the window at 2:30 and the clothing truck would leave, or like the food would be sitting out there since whatever time they came. So how I begin my information is from my neighbor. So if my neighbor wasn't here, like I wouldn't know nothing. So yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't know if there's anything, Shannon or Sarah, I don't know if there's anything you can say about CSB managing communication.
If you did not already, if you have not filled out the registration form to provide your contact information, cell phone or email, what we're trying to do is gather all that information, all that contact information, so we can relay and mass communicate with everybody. We'll share that information with CSB to be able to relay that information, and our county and city partners as well to be able to reach you. We understand and we want to make sure that we can get that unified message to all of you.
Right, but I believe CSB also is coordinating when there's staff that's actually there, and I want to make sure that you're getting the communication with the actual on-site staff. So.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Sarah with Community Shelter Board, and we have contracted with staff to be on site every day. And I'm taking lots of notes, and I'm going to let them know that there is a concern about kind of consistent communication of when meals are available, when food trucks are coming, when resources are showing up for you. I know that kind of just notes on the door don't work for everybody, and you don't get notified in time. So I'm taking that feedback, and we will let them know and ask for better results there.
Oh my God.
Should we or should we not go get tested for the result of this asbestos stuff?
So I don't think anyone at this table is a health professional, so I can't advise you on that.
Yes. You gotta know, like, this is people. I can go out here and pass out on shit. You know what I'm saying? And you're not really like giving me like really like, come on, we're 42 now. You know what I'm saying? I got kids your age. You know what I'm saying? So,
Sir, I'm 42 too, so I got you. My knees hurt standing up here, but
so what would you do?
I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I would.
Go to the hospital and get a lawyer, like, or should I just keep going to the room? I mean,
I can't. The lawyers would have to answer the lawyer question.
Come on, Steve.
I mean, there's no downside to going to a doctor. I would tell you what Tony said is right. Is asbestos is in a ton of buildings. That doesn't hurt people. It's when someone busts into the damn stuff and it's flying around. As far as what we were able to tell, they started busting into the stuff a week or so afterwards. That's when Tony's folks shut everything down. That's me eyeballing it as someone who doesn't know shit about any of this stuff. So, and again, that's what I'm saying. As far as what we saw, what we could tell, we think it all happened after. You go in and see a doctor. There's no downside to doing that.
Where did the microphone end up in the universe? Who's got the mic? Ms. Vivian.
Excuse me, I just want to say one more thing. It's been like a lot of Flint, Michigan type of stuff happening. Like, can we get the water tested there? Because I want to know what my kid's been drinking this whole time and showering in. Because I'm real concerned about all this right now. All y'all just magically finding out a lot of stuff that could have been found out about 3 years ago. Yeah. So I want to know what kind of damages my kids going to have in their future when I have my grandkids and this type of thing. Because I heard about the Flint, Michigan kids, they're going to be affected for their whole life from it. So like, could y'all do that for me? Because I'm feeling like a little lonely right here. Because I feel like they attacked us. I feel like this is criminal. I'm emotional, mentally damaged. I need therapy. My kids need therapy. My wife need therapy. I want to really have y'all support on this if y'all don't mind. No, because like y'all not sitting crying. Y'all got to go home like all of us do and go home to a hotel and lay in a hotel and they tell you, oh, you can wash this when and wash this here and there. You know, I'm just saying. That's all.
I know that DPU, you can give that back to Ms. Vivian. Yeah, sure, that'd be great, Ms. Twyla. DPU, I know our DPU has done a lot of work around lead in our water system. I don't have an answer for you this evening on testing Sawyer, but I know that DPU has been undertaking a comprehensive review, so that is definitely a question that we can follow up on. So afterwards.
If they've shut the water down, which they have to a large extent, we'd have to figure out where that water is shut off at. If it's in an area that's within the building, then we can we can try to figure out how to make them pay for some water testing. But if they've shut it off at the tap out by the street, which I suspect they have, then I can't do anything about that because the systems would be shut down, and whenever you shut these types of systems down, everything that's suspended or is in the system is going to start to settle down.
The money they spending to repair the building, they should put it in a fund to help us. Nobody's gonna go back in that building.
So wait.
I don't think y'all wanna open it back up no more.
So I wanna pause on the question. Can I have Ms. Twyla use that for just a second, sir? Okay, so what I want to do for just 1 second, and then we can go back to questions and answers, is I want to acknowledge and recognize all of the conversation and concerns around mental health and stress and trauma. And so Ms. Twyla Jones is with CPH, and she provides mental health services in our social work. So I just want a minute for her to talk about what services her team can provide if you guys choose to access them, and then we can go back to the regularly scheduled program. Go ahead, Ms. Twyla.
Good evening, everybody. I am going to just say the same thing everybody else said. We are very sorry that this has happened to you, and my team has been coming out when the code officers were coming out to try to help you figure out what to do also since June, I believe, we had been coming out. But right now, I know you guys have some concerns about mental health. So what we're going to offer to you is we can do some group things with you so you can kind of talk about your feelings, because trauma really does mess with your body and your mind. So we want you to be able to process those feelings that you have. So I have some paper back here in the back. If you want to be contacted and join in on group services, that's fine. If you want individual service, then you can also sign up for that. We have tried to contact some therapists so you don't get put on a waiting list to wait for services, okay? So that if you sign up, we will have a therapist for you that you can go to, immediately. So those are the two things. You can do a group session where you guys can talk about and share your feelings, or you can do individual. But I'm back here in the back, and just come and sign up, okay? You're welcome.
That's Ms. Twyla.
They might really need your help. I don't know a lot of people personally, but I know stuff like that can trigger drug abuse.
Yeah,
You understand the alcoholism.
Yes.
I'm alcoholic.
Me
and I
too.
smoke a lot of weed.
Okay.
And I'm not even gonna play with you. And it's doing it to me. It's stressing me out.
Okay, well, come, we can come
We'll talk about how you can have some other coping mechanisms besides drinking and smoking, okay? That's what we can do.
I just wanted to know, like, wasn't y'all, didn't y'all, they give y'all $750,000 to help everybody? Like, is that like all went to just to the hotel?
No, so it is $750,000 that was provided by the county, and then the city matched it. The city commitment is actually up to $950,000 now. So that is a combination of services between the support that CSB is providing in the now, so food delivery, safety, transportation, the hotels mostly.
I just want to know why wasn't that $750,000 did not get my kids to school on time? That's what I'm saying. I've been walking all the way down to catch the bus in the freezing cold with $750,000. Trying to get my kids to school with $750,000. Now my kid is behind. They might got to go to summer school with $750,000. I'm trying to find a place to live with my kids with $750,000. And I don't see none of that. I'm just saying, I don't see none. Everybody's calling, making me have calls, look for this, looking for that. I hear, why haven't you found a place yet? I'm gonna feel demeaned as a man. I'm just saying, where all this super help that you got?
What did the owners put in the pot? Just the promise to fix the building?
No, sir. So the resources are between that, and then they're also supporting the work of Miss Rosetta, and then they are also going to the rental assistance once the units are identified, the security deposits, the application fees that were referred as well. Okay? All right.
This is about the rent, Ms. Brown. Okay, so the difference is gonna be paid, but our difference starts cause our utilities were added, so is the difference from just the actual rental price minus the utilities, the difference, or is it the whole, what we were paying in total, the difference from that amount?
So I have your total amount.
So the difference between old rent and new rent for 6 months and your security deposit.
If we're adding on utilities at this new place, but our utilities were added into it, so say my rent was $810, technically my rent was really only like $700, you know what I'm saying? Is it from that $700, because I'm now taking on utilities on top of it?
Right, yeah, in some cases you guys will be, we're also going to be assisting as needed with any utility deposits as well. But I just need to see you afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want to do is recommend that if people have questions that we follow up. I know that we had all the cards, we have everybody's email contact info. This is the start of a dialogue, not an end. I think a lot of these questions are also very specific to your case with Miss Rosetta and then the cases with legal aid. So I would encourage you, if you have already signed up for additional questions, that we will get you the feedback we can. We will continue to keep you informed on the next steps as we develop the protocol and continue to engage with folks. So we will also have this recorded for follow-up after the meeting as well, and folks can hang out and answer any more questions too. Is there anything else you want, Ms. Vivian?
Saying they having leasing problems because they was evicted from this place or behind on rent. Why don't y'all just wipe that clean and let us move on? You know, why do we don't want to be there no more? Them folks ain't gonna fix the building. Why can't that just be, they can do that. You did these people this way, all that white clean. So, you know, it don't make no sense. Somebody have to go somewhere and they say you was just evicted from Latitude 525. All that should be wiped clean and let us move ahead. That's what I'm talking about. We need help now.
Yeah.
All y'all talking about is lawsuits and this. We need it now. You know, if we need a place to stay, a lease from that joint shouldn't hold us back. Should nothing from that place hold us back. When I moved, they don't even know who live in some of them apartments. So, you know, just wipe us clean and let us go ahead on. with that rent and those leases and stuff. And that's one problem we don't have to worry about.
Actually, one of the things that we are working on, when we went to court last time at the beginning of January after this happened, and we thought that people would be able to go back at some point, what we had negotiated then was that nobody had to pay their January rent and that anyone who wanted to break their lease could. Now, when the next court hearing comes up in a couple weeks, we'll have to address the current situation. But that is something that we are having discussions about. And what I can tell you from a landlord-tenant law perspective just generally is that Ohio law says that when a property is uninhabitable, you owe 0 rent. So you owe 0 rent for January. You owe 0 rent for February. You owe 0 rent for whatever months come and go while there is still a lease in place. And what the law also says that when your landlord doesn't take care of the property and they know that they're not taking care of the property and it doesn't get fixed within a reasonable amount of time, you can break your lease and leave. One of the things that we have in the back with legal aid is lease rescission letters that we're collecting for people. If you want to sign a paper that says I'm breaking my lease, we've got those and we can help you to fill that out.
The CODA buses, if you need transportation back to the hotel, are out front. We want to thank the Warm Center for hosting us. And as we said, we are here and available for questions as well.